Friends, welcome back. And today is another day with a mission-led entrepreneur. Today we have Philip in the studios, and Philip is like a special guest. He's been doing intuitive work. He's a healer. He's been in the weeds helping people change their lives for the last 30 years. If I'm to read his bio, I think we'll sleep here. So I won't try and do that. But what I want to talk about today is I want to interview him across the 30 years of helping people behind the scenes. What that has been like, what he's learned from all of that, and why he does what he does. He has a product that I'm very keen about called Thanks. It's a product that helps you measure invisible progress. We've all heard that therapy doesn't work, and I don't know, internal work doesn't work. Some things take longer than we all want to. So in a world of push button, we can be challenged with how much time we are willing to give to progress, especially if we don't see that things are working. And I'm very particularly interested in his product called Thanks because it does help you track invisible progress. So if you've been doing inner work, journaling, and all of the things to improve yourself, and you're in a point where you're like, but why can't my life get better? This is going to be something that helps us understand, like, how can you track your own progress? Because invisible progress can feel like no progress. I've been there. And no progress is a killer of momentum. So I'm very particularly interested in this product because I think that it's a very big piece. But this is just 1% of Philip. So let's bring on Philip and let's try and untangle his entire body of work because I feel like he's one of the best kept secrets that the world needs to discover today. Philip, welcome to the show. I am so honored to have you.
Thank you, Job. Well, I'm just a secret because I'm so old that I'm coming from an era before the internet. So all the things I've done in my life were basically post-internet. And that's why I'm a best kept secret, simply because I teach meditation for 30 years, but I don't do online things yet. I've done guided meditation since ever. I taught so many other meditation teachers how to give better guided meditation, but I don't have a single guided meditation online. So it's a bit crazy in our time that you teach others to do guided meditation, but you don't have a guided meditation online. But it was actually very funny because I wanted to subscribe to some very famous meditation network. And one of the things, you must give them a diploma. Well, I learned meditation 34 years ago. I don't know where is the diploma. so it's a very funny situation that I'm simply too old for the internet. But never mind. I think I will find a way.
Just like my previous guests, Philip is one with a lot of wisdom, but hidden from us. You cannot Google him. You cannot find his wisdom. You cannot understand how wise and helpful this man is until you have to meet him physically one-on-one. So for us who are lucky to have the podcast and to listen in, today we're going to try and drill what we can out of this man. And hopefully he will never be a secret again after this podcast. So Phil, I want to know what you do. Tell me what you do that I haven't yet mentioned. Like, just wrap it up for me and tell me what you do for the last 30 years, what you've done, and what people can expect us to give them through this podcast based on your own experiences. Like, tell me what you do and what you want to share today.
I had a guest recently who said, it's better to say what I have not done than to tell you what I have done. The list of things I haven't done is much shorter. I thought this is a very clever answer. And in my case, it's true as well. So it's really difficult to sum up because I'm a little bit of a schizophrenic character. I'm basically doing 4 things always, but as always, maybe during my last 30 years as an active business life, one of those 4 things is always playing the lead, and then somebody else is playing the lead and something else. So I'm shifting. So I'm shifting between spirituality. I study traditional medicine. I study acupuncture. So that is one element in teaching, meditation teaching, and that's the only thing I've been doing basically all the time for 30 years, either as a hobby teacher or as a full-time teacher, having my own meditation center and things like that. But that's one of the few things I've been doing 30 years constantly. Then I'm a businessman. I founded many companies all over Europe, many different companies in all kind of different areas. Some were successful, some were not successful, some became bigger, some were small, but it's basically a lot of really different companies that I founded. Then I always do a little bit something about food. I like food production. I have a small vinegar production. It's one of my, how to say, business hobbies. Again, business hobby in combination. And I've done art. I've been quite accomplished as an artist for many years. I had the privilege to have many exhibitions, including in the Museum of Modern Art from Austria and many other renowned places. So that has been something I've been doing for many years. So that's approximately the shortcut of the things I have been doing. I finished, I think, 2 universities. I don't know. It's an endless story of the things I do.
What I want to do today is I want to go deep into the spirituality piece, into the medications, the acupunctures, and all of the. I want to go deep into the spirituality and helping people heal and helping people rise. I want to go deep into that part of you because if we talk about your mouth's passion for business and food production and artist, we might need like a week here. So today I want to dig deep into the spirituality piece. Tell me more about that part of you.
Just to say, food production is very spiritual. If you grow things, especially organic, and then you create, for example, vinegar, it takes 3 years to make 1 bottle of really high class vinegar. It is pretty spiritual journey to commit to something like that. So I'm just saying it. We're not talking about it, but food is quite a spiritual thing.
We will talk about it if we need to. But tell me more about the spiritual angle. What do you exactly do day to day, or what are you trying to add to your platform? Like, walk me through your journey as a spiritual guide and what you're wanting to bring to the world as a spiritual guide,
all right,
and all of the things. Yeah,
I'll try to make it as quick as possible to come to the here and now. But I started really young to be interested in spirituality, extremely young. I remember one funny thing. We were like the beginning of high school, and everybody in the class, we had religion. Religion was part of the regular curriculum. Everybody had to make a seminar. It's like in front of the children in the class, and people talked about the Bible or Jesus, or I don't know. Everybody had that small half an hour. I think I was, I don't know, 15, 16 years old. And I spoke 1 hour about the symbolism of 17th century Freemasonry. I can tell you, nobody in the class knew what other Freemasonry. Nobody understood symbolism, and the 17th century as well. The books I read at the time was mass psychology. It was all about heavy stuff that you're not supposed to read with 16. And, you know, that's why I already at 18 years, I had my own meditation group as a teacher. I opened my first meditation center. I was 18 and a half. So basically, I think I was quite young and moved quite quickly into all of it. And of course, I studied, among other things, traditional medicine, specifically Ayurveda medicine, with specializing in acupuncture. So I finished this academy, but then basically, approximately at that time, I stopped. I worked as a therapist for 5 years, and then I decided to go in totally different direction, went into art. So as a therapist, I worked for 5 years, but as a meditation teacher, I work on and off for now more than 30 years. And I had many groups in many different countries, and I had my own meditation centers, or I worked with other centers together. So that's one of the few things I've been really doing for the whole time. And now, back to nowadays, I kind of stopped like a year ago to have meditation classes in the real world. I decided to basically say hello to the internet. And I started as a podcasting last October. I do spiritual podcasts, and I'm now doing one-on-one online because for me it was time to explore the possibility that the internet has to offer. And especially I'm changing countries from time to time, and I got a little bit tired building up new groups and going somewhere else and starting from the beginning. So it was a bit like, let's see what the internet has to offer. And I'm very excited to get new clients and create a couple of specific offers that I thought are needed in this world. And yeah, that's where I'm right now.
So you did therapy work early on, and at some point you didn't want to continue the therapy work. You were like, no, I don't want to do this. And then you went into meditation, had your own center, did a lot of offline work. And then last year or something, you were like, no, I want to move from offline to online. So now are you bringing your meditation from offline to online? Exactly what are you pivoting from offline to online? Because if I understand what you're saying that you're no longer seeing people in person. You want to see people globally, virtually, across Zoom and other platforms online. Is that correct?
Right. The focus is not on meditation. The focus is on, so to say, life counseling, but it's a little bit different than what others offer. But among the free offers I have now on my website, one of them is meditation. But there I'm kind of specializing on two things. First of all, helping really beginners, people who are interested to get started with meditation. I think that's a nice thing, something I like, something I enjoy very much, to help people along the way and give them the basic structure, the basic understanding, what to expect from meditation, and then send them off their way. And then they will find maybe some center close by, or they will work with somebody else. So this initial start is something I'm very keen on. And the other thing is that I work with meditation teachers and people who are much advanced to help them better the fundamentals, because that's something that is quite often lacking for people who've been doing meditation for many years, that they reach a certain level where then things get a bit complicated. And if there are some errors in the basic setup, if the fundamentals are not strong, then this can be quite an issue. So you can be quite advanced in meditation and still not advancing enough if you have not taken care of some very basic things.
So let me recap. You still do meditation, but now it's online. You do one-on-one live consulting virtually, and you are into art, which is the tongues direction, which we'll talk about later. Like, is that the body of work? Is that the offers that you have?
The one that you're interested in, yes. I mean, I have companies in two different countries, different kind of companies and employees and things like that, on top of many other things. So it's the stuff that you care, yes, but my art has nothing to do with thanks. I'm a visual artist, and this is completely different area that we don't even have to start talking about, because nobody's gonna follow this conversation anymore. But yeah, what you care is my, so to say, life coaching, the offers I have on my website that includes meditation, that includes two other very interesting programs that maybe you like to know about, and the podcast and the Thanks project. These are the three elements that you are interested in because they touch spirituality.
Okay, cool. So what is the problem in the world that your work exists to solve? Because I see they're related, life coaching, meditation, podcast, things. I think all of this is trying to help people with something. What is the problem in the world that your work in general intends to solve?
That's an easy question. I'm happy if people get connected, if people are aware of connection and the importance of connection. Is it cooking dinner for friends and laughing? Is it spending time together, going out there, cleaning the river, doing voluntary work? Anything I can help to make people understand that we should not be lonely, that we should be connected with others and recognize ourselves and recognize others. That's the core of my work. That's my whole motivation to spread the idea of love and friendship and being connected.
That's interesting. Love, friendship, being connected. Well, the people that come to work with you, what exactly is the challenge that they're having at that point? Like, why would I seek your services out? Like, what am I trying to work through when I say I need Phil?
I hope absolutely nothing. That's exactly why my service is so unique. The life that my, so to say, life coaching I offer, they're like free offers which you can buy online. One is called Spiritual Conversation. You can just talk with me as one person to the other. You can have your doubts about the religion you can be seeking. And I've been over 30 years into spiritual seeking. I'm not here to teach you anything, but I can talk with you. We can share thoughts, we can share ideas, and maybe I can open you here and there to some ideas, and maybe you will open me. So the first thing I open is called a spiritual conversation. The second thing I open is talk as friends. The idea is that you basically book me to have a friendly conversation. We can talk about anything that you like. And again, I'm definitely not a healer. I'm not a therapist. I'm a friend. Maybe I will, and the conversation will go where it goes. That's what I offer. And that's what I think a lot of people need in our days, to have someone to talk openly in a safe space, to share their ideas. And it's not like a therapy from the start. It's just a conversation. If it's about their business life, I'm a multi-business founder, so I can talk with business people. Is it about career advancement? Is it about love? I'm a married father. I talk about children education. We can talk about many things. I also have a medical background, so I do understand people's worries about health. And of course, I have a spiritual background. So I think I can offer myself as a friend, as a person, to talk eye to eye. And I think this is a service that is desperately needed in our time.
So what you do is listen, or what you do is what? Like, I don't understand the service right now. If I wanted to talk about one of those things, what would I be looking for? Someone to listen or someone to bounce ideas off? Is it like soundboard, or is it like someone who will create a space so you can actually be heard? Because today everyone wants to talk about themselves and no one is trying to listen to anybody. Like, is it the later, or could you give me a more context on that?
I think it's somewhere along these lines that nobody's listening to anybody anymore. And a lot of people are lonely. A lot of people have thoughts that they don't know who to share them with, or they just maybe don't find the right person to share them, especially about spirituality. You'd be surprised how many people have deep thoughts, or how many people have deep feelings, or they had some angel feelings happening to them, and they don't want to tell it to their friends. They want to tell it to their family. They are scared about what happened to them, and they would be happy to have someone that is not judgmental, that is there to listen to them, engage with them. And this is a very important service. And I specifically don't want to come as a therapist. I don't want to come as a teacher. People should see me as a neutral person, eye to eye, to talk about the things that are on their mind, that troubles them, that bothers them. And they can talk about their wife, they can about their relationship, but it's not a therapy where it's like a couple therapy. It's not a therapy to talk about. It's a friendly conversation.
So would you say a space holder?
I definitely think space holder would be a very beautiful way to put it. But again, I'm a danger with the word space holder to not amplify that I want this to be eye to eye. I want us to be on the same level. I don't want anybody to be a teacher. I don't want anybody to be a guru or an expert. I'm looking to have this equality in the conversation, and to come in with interest. Who are you? What moves you? And of course, how can I help you? that's the idea, but definitely I want us to be equal. But holding space, yes, for sure.
Would you say you're helping people find find like answers that already exist in them, more like coaching? I may know what I want, but maybe I'm not connected to it. So if I'm not connected to myself, I may not access the answers. So are you saying that this is the facilitation of that kind of safety where I can actually access my wisdom? Is that kind of what it is?
That might be definitely one of the great outcomes from such a conversation, that you better understand what you want. I mean, that's what we all do all the time. I'm meeting my friends for a beer. If I have a new business idea, sometimes we just need to say it out loud. So I have a good friends and I can sit down with them. And just by speaking out loud the idea for my next adventure, for my next business, I can feel into myself when I start to explain it. Is this good? Is this bad? Do I know how to explain it? Do I know how to make it understood? And then also my friends bounce back. Either they're smiling or they're looking worried or they don't understand. And then I can tune my conversation. So it is from a great value without judging, without being a consultant. Look, if you have business ideas, you go to business consultant and they do all the boring things. They look into numbers, they look into business plan, but we are not there yet. We are just talking. We are not there. We are not at the business plan. We're not at the numbers. We're not at the structures. We're just talking. And there is too little good conversations for a lot of people. Some are lucky that they have friends and family who have time for them, who can sit down with them and talk for hours and have a good partner who want to listen and has time to listen. A lot of people are lucky, but trust me, there's like an ocean of people who in that extent are lonely. They don't have someone to talk to. And this is a service I want to offer. It's a service I very much believe in because I know that the people need it. And I can, when I talk with people, see how much they need it, just to have someone to have a good conversation and have a good laugh or have deep thoughts or whatnot. And it brings all what I have learned and all I have experienced and all my knowledge. It brings this to the table and it makes me happy. And I know it makes the clients happy. So what better can I say?
Yeah, it's a service I didn't even know existed until I got someone hiring me just to listen to them. And I was like, that's very strange. She didn't want anything to do with troubleshooting. She didn't want me to even help her. She just wanted to talk. I was like, Prima, I just want to talk through my things. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? She's like, just listen. And then she paid and I was confused, like, okay, let's see how this goes. So I go in there and I listen. And at the end of it, oh, she's like, yeah, I now see the thing. Like, thank you so much. I now have the answer. In my head, I'm like, oh. So now that you talk about it, I can clearly see that you don't even have to be that stuck of no one can listen to you. Some people, that is how they process. They have to talk it out to get it out. And in this world, I don't know that anybody is sitting there for an hour waiting for you to talk. You better talk to the wall. So I think that definitely there's a need for holding space for someone to just talk and talk and talk, and who knows, maybe bounce ideas. But I really see the service. What else do you do in the chambers there? That service is interesting. What else do you have going on behind the scenes? Like, how else are you helping people?
Well, the main job I'm doing, as you know, right now is hosting a podcast about spirituality. That's now, I'd say, a big chunk of my daily time. And this, of course, I think is a great service I'm trying very hard to help people who are spiritual seekers, to give them a platform where I'm showing all different ways and angles how one can pursue spirituality. I'm fighting very hard to just show the full picture. I have a lot more and more academics who have, I don't know, pre-Islamic folk spirituality from Iran to Dante's Inferno. I had a fantastic podcast 2 days ago about a professor who is researching and writing about Dante's Inferno as a spiritual journey. Then I have a lot of therapists, people who work with clients, people who have their own story. I have people who had a huge awakening and strong. So I had a great tattoo artist who is totally into spiritual of symbolism, and how when you put tattoos against your meridians, you can harm yourself. And the history of tattooing, medicine men and things like this. I have sound therapists, color therapists. I have priests. I have religious studies. You have anthropologists who work with indigenous spirituality. So I fight very hard to give a service to just show how far and wide the subject of spirituality goes. So this is my main work right now.
So the main work is holding space or creating a platform where spiritual teachers, leaders can come and share their spirituality and how they're anchored in it, and allowing everyone to just express what spirituality is to them, and allowing the world to just know that maybe there's a path for everyone. It's a kind of what the work is about.
Exactly. This is the main work I'm doing right now. I've also worked on my own therapies and things like the holistic circle therapy, but I put all of this on the back seat. I have a special program that is connected with colors and sound and smell. It's an activation therapy. It's a very interesting thing, but I put it on the back seat because I can see that I make the biggest impact right now with the podcast. I feel it's right. I feel it's a calling, and looking at the response I receive, I started just a couple of months ago, but looking at the response in a short time, I can feel that this is my right path and this is a good path. And basically in one way or the other, if you look at the way I'm holding my conversation, I'm holding my space during the podcast, and then you look at my one-on-one service, it's actually quite different, quite similar, sorry. I think this kind of conversations, good conversations, listening to people, maybe asking some questions, I can see that this is needed, that people need it, people want it, and I'm very happy and I'm enjoying very much doing it, so it must be right.
Yeah, I can see the connection. You have all these experts, all these people trying to talk about their anchor in spirituality and what they believe and what they are trying to share in the world that nobody's listening to. And you're like listening and helping them even talk more about their work. And then the extension of that is you can actually do that as a service where people can talk to you and even just get clearer and clearer. Because every time you take your work on a podcast, every time I take my work on a podcast, I feel more clear about it. So I think that's really powerful. So what have you found? Because now I'm beginning to understand that this service is not only needed by people who have no one to listen to. Sometimes it is the people who come to my podcast. They're best secrets. They have gifts. They have a message to share, but they feel like they're on an island screaming to nobody. And they're happy to come to this podcast because at least somebody's listening. At least somebody's asking the questions. At least their life is coming to life. So tell me about what you find, because I feel like now the audience is growing. I feel like there's more people who need this work that you do than I feel stuck and I don't know if I need a coach. You can also be like a coach, a mentor, a healer. You can also be like an expert, but need this. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. But for me, the path of healer or coach is closed in the moment. Okay. For me, it's very important people understand I don't want to be seen as a healer, as a coach. This is in the past. I want to be seen as a friend, as a person on their level. For me, this is really important right now. I need to take a break from, I don't want to tell anyone anything. I don't want to heal anyone at the moment. I don't want to coach anyone in the moment. I want to be a good friend. I want to be a good listener. I can give advice as friend, but the path of coaching for me right now is not what I'm interested in. I hope it makes sense to anyone.
It does. Yes. The other day I stepped down from the coaching industry. Like I was like, you know what? I'm no longer wanting to be a coach. And I just want to do like guidance and space holding and mentorship. So it's a very big difference that you're making here. So what you're saying is that you just want to be a guide or somebody like you want to help people co-create. You want to like help people co-create their own thing You don't know any better. You're not trying to help them, advise them. You're just a friend, an equal. And if they
Yes,
would love to co-create with you, you're welcome to just sit and be there as a partner, as on the same level. Tell me what you're doing, and let's see if, as friends, we can come up with something. I really like
absolutely.
this. I like this.
Absolutely, you will be my colleague soon. I can see it.
There's a lot of let me coach you, let me mentor you, let me advise you. But sometimes you just know better. Sometimes you just know better. Like a lot of people are very connected to themselves. They're very connected to their intuition. So they actually know where they're going. It's just that they don't have someone who is not trying to put the agenda in the, I see what you mean there. Like it's so important, it's so necessary. And I think the more advanced someone is, the more they can definitely use a space of someone who's not trying to impose their agenda into what they're trying to do. Tell me more. Where did that come from?
I think I can only guess, right? So this is something that I can only guess, but I don't want to sound arrogant because it's the last thing I want to sound or even feel like or think like. But I guess I'm now 53 years old. As I said, I've founded many, many companies, bigger, smaller. I've held many groups. I gave many seminars. I studied two different things. I did what I did in life. And let me tell you like this. One of my last meditation groups I had here, it was a beautiful group, a lot of young people, and it was really lovely. And I gave my lectures, we did the meditation. And so many times after the meditation, we went for some drink, if it's a beer or some herbal tea, whatever. And people were sitting and talking and chit-chatting. Sometimes I went with the group, sometimes the group went without me. And I so deeply started to wonder, what here is the healing? Is it me being the meditation teacher and showing them all those things? Or is it that together after the meditation, sitting and drinking and laughing and talking, I so much started to wonder, what is the healing, me or that? And most probably it's a combination of things, but it had a very deep impact on me. This moment sitting there and just laughing and being together had a profound impact on me. And I said, this is a very valuable space. And there are millions of meditation teachers out there, especially online. There are millions of guided meditations and there are therapists without end. But the other part, the community part, the sharing part, the honest time together, that's something that is actually through mobile phones and technology, disenfranchisement, living alone, all of these elements, I think that is a much bigger problem right now. We have enough therapists. I don't think we have enough good friends. We have enough guided meditation videos on YouTube. I think we have not enough people where we can laugh together, cry together, be angry together, express our frustration or express our happiness in a safe place. So this is the shift that happened inside me. There was a shift to feel a need, and as a spiritual person, you always follow the need. You go where you think the need is the greatest, or the need you understand the best, or it resonates with you. And the arrogant part is, I think I came far enough as a person to have settled as a person. I've done 30 years of spiritual work. I've done so many things, and I come to the point where I'm quite content, happy, and I'm quite content. And so being a therapist, all of these things, I see more value just to be present.
I like it because when I look in the world, the people that are supposed to be my life friends have no idea what I'm doing. And every time I sit with them, I feel like they're trying to question drag me back, and I'm like, okay, we are not on the same path here. The people that I'm born with have no idea of my journey and my growth and my evolution. And so there are conversations, we can laugh and all of the things, but still I don't feel like there is, like I don't feel like we are on the same path. And then the coaches and mentors, there is this assumption that I know better and I'm gonna guide you. And quite honestly, sometimes I've been given advice, and the bone of my bone marrow is like, I'm not taking that. And so there is really a space for someone who just may be where you've been, but they're just choosing to just be a friend and not try to direct you and not trying to save you and not trying to. I really see that, like that space holding. Let's just chat as people who maybe have gone through the same journey. And if I can share, if you need me to share, okay. If anything can help you, okay. But I do think that you have all the answers and you just need to feel safe to bring them out. I don't know. I really like the idea.
Thank you for putting it in such a nice word. That's your talent. I've noticed it since our first conversation that you have this wonderful talent of bringing out the essence of an idea.
And I think the more advanced someone is, the more they need this, because there's always another level and another level and another level. But sometimes right now, right here, is the level to feel connected to yourself and to everybody else. And even if you never moved a notch higher, maybe it's enough. Maybe if you died today, it's enough. And I feel like in the world, there is always this next level, next goal. And I mean, what's the end? Like, where is the end to all of the things? And so I really like the service. What about right now, in the moment, present? What do you want to achieve today? What about this year? What about, yeah.
What you say is so important, because I so much agree with you that we have forgotten to say enough is enough. So many people have forgotten it, because there is always more. There's always another level. And how much money you make, there's more money. And even if you have all the money, well, then you don't have enough love or not enough health or whatever. It's never enough until it is enough. And it's your choice to say it is enough. This is enough. And if I die today, I die in peace. I've done what I did. I fulfilled some of my dreams. I've done some stuff, and I think it's enough. It does not mean I'm a couch potato. It does not mean that I'm sitting all day long and just, okay, I've done it. Now I'm finished. I think I'm a very active person. I think I do a lot, but I don't do it out of wanting more or wanting better. I'm just enjoying what I do. I'm very happy that I can do what I can do. And as long as I'm healthy, as long as I'm agile, I'm happy to move forward, but I'm not looking for more. I'm not looking for better. And it's a choice. And I've seen so many people make this transition, people that I respect a lot. There are some people I look up to in this world, and they are maybe not the richest people on the planet. Maybe they're not the most famous people on the planet, but they are content. And my heroes are content. They found peace within themselves, within their family, within the place that they are, the little garden they have, or the books that they write, or the things that they do. And some of them have even a bit more money. Some have very little money, but this is not the issue. They're just happy. And I think it's so powerful. And I was maybe many years in some way jealous about someone who's just happy, that I tried to learn. I tried to learn from these people what is necessary to just be happy. Just be happy. And you have to let go so many things that you want, and you have to question the things that you want. And this is a process. And just one morning you wake up and you're kind of happy.
I want to ask you a question, Philip, because I have some assumptions. I do feel like there's nothing externally. Personally, this is my experience. There's nothing externally that will make people worthy, happiest. I feel like there is that contentment or that richness that is just internally held. And when people don't have that, then they keep chasing. What about more kids? About more family? What about more money? What about more things? What about more? And then they chase more. And then one day they have the money, they can't even breathe. They can't stop to enjoy it. They have the kids, they can't even spend time with them. They have a wife, they can't even get the love. And in my head, I have this theory that there is a point or there is a place that exists where you can feel pretty content or full with just where you are right now. And once that place is there, then everything else you're creating is not to necessarily fill a void that you're carrying. And so in my head, I'm coming to think that the work you do is to kind of help people access that point so that everything else they do is just not trying to fill a hole. Does that come up for your people? Like, have you met that? Because I feel like there's a lot of people who keep doing things because like they have a void they're trying to fill. I want to feel more important, more successful, more. But there's nothing in the world, in the earth, that is going to fill the void that is inside that you haven't filled internally. It's what my experience, anyways, I guess, but I'm not a therapist or anything. What are your thoughts with that theory of mine?
You asked me in the beginning, what is my aim? And I said, love and community. So basically you have the answer. That is first of all, I think that is something that people feel the need, everybody feels the need of being connected, of being loved, of being in community. And some people make space for it and some don't. And I would never be on a mission to tell people. They would have to find the need within themselves. And I've seen millions of people who their aim in life is not to be content. Their aim in life is to be rich. And who am I to say anything against it? And some people fight to be famous. And who am I to say anything against it? And you and me can presume, because I know a lot of rich people, that many of them are not so happy. But at least they're lucky. They're rich now. That's what they wanted. Is it a good choice? Who am I to say? This is their choice and to stand by the choice, and maybe they're a bit lonely, but okay, they have all the money and they're sitting on all the money, and congratulations. And I don't make these choices anymore. I've made my choice and I'm happy with my choice. I'm happy with my path. I know that I made the right choices for me, and I respect everybody else's choice for themselves. And I also don't think that there is any path that is just pure happiness. And so even a path like mine can have sad moments, dark moments, can have regrets, can have doubt. There is no path that is perfectly happy. And from that perspective, looking for discontent or peace of the soul, peace of mind, that is something that has to come from within you. That is something that you have to seek. And I don't think that is something that can be taught.
I picked up something when you said love, connection, community. I want to ask you about because I think I'm the opposite. I have a connection back to me that even if I didn't have community, I'll be fine. Even if I didn't have other people, like I feel like even if I was just me and my creator on this planet, I'm fine. I don't go to parties. I have a few friends, and that's a bonus. And if they chose to leave, that's okay still. And a lot of people find that very, very strange. And you talk about connection and community. So this other connection, what about people like me? I feel like the most important connection is the connection I have with me. And once that connection is solid, then everything else is like a bonus, like icing on the cake. What do you have to say to that? And there's people in the market saying, your potential, tap your potential, then I don't know you're successful and unfulfilled. How to have it all. And there's always things saying people need to do something to have it all, and people need to step into their potential, and people need to unleash their potential. And so there's a lot of marketing out there that may be confusing for people. And based on your experience, what would you share with that case?
Well, first of all, I'm exactly like you, or I have been most of my life exactly like you. I've spent 3 years basically alone in my apartment. I had quite a money at the time. I took a time out and just meditated, and I could have done this forever. I am literally the guy who'd be happy as Larry going to some mountaintop in a little wooden hut and just meditate the rest of my life. And I'm smiling, but I'm very serious about it. But on the other hand, I learned to have a family, to have a wife, to have a child, and to be a father and be a husband. And of course, it's a million times harder to be content in a marriage than it would be in a mountaintop. But it's the ultimate test. There's a lot of Buddhistic works about it, and other Taoistic writings about the fact that it's not impressive. Tao says, I think it's not impressive to be in a monastery and find enlightenment. Try it as a married man. Oh, by the way, it was not Tao, it was an Islamic writer. But basically along that line, a lot of wise men have wrote texts. So I'm with you. I understand what you're saying. It's very important that you can deal with yourself. It's very important you know how to be lonely. A lot of people don't know how to be lonely, how to be with themselves. People go crazy, some people, when they are alone at home and there is no television running or no noise running. Just with themselves is a horror for quite a lot of people, actually. But this little bit goes beside my point, because ultimately we are, as humans, totally interconnected. We are part of one light, we're part of one energy. So what I'm talking about is definitely a level higher. It's more transcendental thinking. We are part of this one, each and every one of us. And if we do not celebrate this being part of one, we're missing out on a big piece of human quality. So I'm perfectly happy to be by myself, and for weeks, months, or years, no problem at all. And I've been never bored, and I'd be happy as can be. But I would miss a great part of human talent and human quality if I would not also try to celebrate communion. And by the end of the day, even Buddhist monks, they are together in the monastery. So even if they have moments where they are alone and going somewhere and doing their rituals, they're coming back and living in a community of monks. So these elements are very strong within us. We are connected people, and we need friends, we need family, we need a cause. Is it cleaning the rivers or planting things, or, as you said, or making art, or volunteering, helping children, helping homeless people? These are the things that fill our soul more than anything else. And I've said that a couple of times, and some people, I got very crazy messages the other day when I said something similar. I got very crazy messages when people said, how can you say that? I mean, as you said, you should be also alone, and this and that and this. And I'm a strong believer that you should do inner work and then bring it to the world, and then maybe go back in, and then maybe go back out. So this spiritual movement between inner work and outer work, for me, is essential of progress. And you also have to go out and share your thoughts and ideas. And some people will laugh, some people will contradict you, and you have to weigh the storm. You have to go out there and share your findings, your spiritual findings, and you must test it with the world, and you must bring it to the world. I think this is a very important element of spiritual growth, this inner and outer work. And
I get it. So I was in my head thinking, when Philip says connection, I was beginning to think, okay, do we have like 3 rings or 4 rings? Like, what are the connection levels? Because I've seen people who were in public and lonely. I've seen people who were married and lonely. I have seen people who, like me, alone and like totally happy. And if I go out, okay, cool. It's like overflow. Well, there's more water in the cup, which is already full. It's cool. Which then gets me to think, okay, there is the inner connection, and then maybe there is the outer connection, and maybe, who knows, So if we were to look at connecting to others or the world or interconnectedness and happiness as a system, how would you envision it? For me to go out in the world and laugh and have a good time and not feel like I depend on that, like not feel like, my God, what is the TV I need it on? Because I feel like that's okay. I don't know if I can't judge, but I feel like there needs to be a time where you can just be by yourself. I think people can be fun for themselves as well. But then there's a point where people just can't have nothing going on. It's either the TV, or I'm calling a friend, or calling my mother, or I'm going out. And I'm like, really? Like, what about yourself? Like, when is the last time you spent time with yourself? And some people can't tell you. So when you look at connection or connectedness, structurally, how does that look like in Philip's world? Like, what are the pieces there? Because I've seen people who were in public in big rooms and they didn't feel the connection, if that makes sense.
Absolutely makes sense, because I've seen it many, many times. But there you said everything that needs to be said. You have to experience and to open yourself to that connectedness. That is what is it all about. Just going out with 5 people in the evening and laughing does not mean you're connected. Being alone in the room and looking in the mirror just because you're alone in the room does not mean you're connected with yourself. So this is the same activity. To connect with yourself and to connect with others requires the openness, requires the patience, the listening, requires to open your heart and building this connection and letting it happen, letting this community happen, the community with yourself or the community with others. It's basically the exact same thing from the technical perspective. And some of us are more talented to build the connection with ourselves. It's a character quality. And some are more talented to build the connection with others. And maybe you and me have more talent building that inward connection and maybe less of a talent to build the outward connection, while other people are the total opposite. So we have to work on that. They have to work on it. But that is part of this healing. That is part of the journey, that we try to look at our strong elements of our character. We look at our weaker elements of our character, and we try to harmonize them to become a more holistic being. That's what I'm talking about.
What is the question that I haven't asked that would be such an eye-opener for whoever is listening to us before I cross over to my agenda, which is the thanks product? What should I have asked that I haven't, which would have been so important for this conversation?
Would you like me to spend a couple of minutes in presenting the thanks product? Because I know you like it and it makes me very happy. Now, let me tell you quick the story of the thanks product. The thanks product has been long in the making, and it happened all because a friend of mine went into therapy and out of therapy, in and out, and telling it very compressed. And she got the therapy fatigue, or that being lost in the therapist went on holiday, then she went on holiday, and the therapist got a flu, and then she had a job thing coming up, and in the end, 5 months no therapy, and all of this is just flowing through life. And I looked at it, and then she always complained to me that nothing is going on, and I was listening to her and thinking a lot of things have going on, but maybe not so visible to yourself. Maybe you don't feel it right now. So I came up with the idea of thanks. That's how it started, to create thanks. And I know that I can help many people in personal growth, in spiritual growth or therapeutic growth, to have a sacred place in their home. It's a beautiful wooden object. I will show it in a minute. And people can put one stone at a time, so they can make it simple, visible, the progress that I have been going through. That's where I was 3 weeks ago, right? And then suddenly my friends who have children about the age like my child said, "Oh, can I have one? We want to put it on the kitchen table. We want to have something with when our kid, makes every morning the bed, we want to put one stone. Or when our kid is doing this, we want to put one stone." And people started coming and said, "We need this to help us as a family." Or every day we're eating only fruits and no sweets, so we are all together eating healthier. We want to put one stone. So people started coming, and maybe 1 or 2 therapy people buying and 5 parents are ordering. So it is such a disproportion. And now at this moment, I'm sitting and thinking, should I a little bit change the wording on the website? Should I a little bit reach out to different people, because I can see that there's a lot of parents out there who are in trouble trying to manage this messy life that we live, being on a mobile phone, constantly blinking and pinging and messages coming in, and we think we cannot miss the next message. And the kids also on the mobile phones, also having messages, and life seems to be running through our fingers. And for a lot of us parents, it becomes very difficult to build a certain structure. And having this object on the kitchen table or in the center of the house, and at least getting one thing done, like eating healthy every day, no sweets but fruits, or making the bed, or reading a couple of pages, whatever it is that right now is the current topic. This helps at least a lot to stay focused and stay committed. Would you like me to show you the Thanks product?
I like this concept. So I even like the parenting angle, because now we're just celebrating life. Now we're tracking progress. Now we're getting children to do things because there's a reward. Now we're getting parents not dragging people to eat greens and lay their bed. I like this for the family setting, because it can be the thing that just, you can get your KPIs or your operating system, whatever you want for your kids, and you can configure it in the thing. So if you eat greens, you get a mark. If you lay your bed, you get a mark. If you read that book instead of being on cartoons, you get that. And I feel like this can help children grow up understanding the life they're meant to live without, if I don't do this, I'll be punished. But if I do this, then it means it's like a reward system. I like it. Let's look at it and kind of illustrate for us how a parent would use it. I like it for this audience. I really like it better.
Just tell me. I think this is for the parents, not for the kids. The kids are fine. We, the parents, are the problem. Because we are the ones who cook the food, and we are the ones who go shopping. If we don't buy sweets, there are no sweets. If we take time to cut the apples and prepare them and put the kid in front of the kids are going to happy to eat the apples, but we got to do the work. So it's for the parents more than for the kids. The kids are fine.
But I also see a place where the kids are throwing tantrums, and you don't want to be a bad parent. And some people are like, oh my God, I can't see my kids do this.
Can you see it?
Yeah. So how does it work?
It starts with the first floor. So all of this is not here, just the first floor. And you fill it up stone by stone. Some of the stones are from wood, some are in color. There are different configurations. And when the first floor is full, then you would put the next floor and the next and the next and the next and the next and the next. You can build it pretty high. It's quite stable. And every time when you have done what you agreed of, you put one stone and off you go. And you can create all kind of elements. You can say after every floor, we're making a small celebration. If this is done, you can set certain goals and set, when this whole floor is done, we're going to go for ice cream or whatever you want to do. And it's important that you give it one specific task and one specific place. So if it's on the kitchen table, it's on the kitchen table. It's on the counter, it's on the counter. It's important, it's visible, and it's important when you set it up. You explain it to yourself when you talk about therapy or spiritually. With children, it's important to explain it to the children and say, this is our sacred place where we grow together and we want to eat healthy and we want to change the way we eat. So every time we manage to go without sweets, we put in one stone and we see how we're getting stronger, how we're getting healthier. That would be a way to introduce this and to make it a celebration, to make it like a sacred element of people's lives.
I like it. I think it's a project management tool. It's a project management tool. So it could be for companies, it could be for CEOs, it could be for whoever is trying to track a project. But like me hates all the login and pings and login Slack. That is something I would use to track my projects, because I don't go to tech as my first thing. I write on paper. So I think that for me, that's a project tracking or management tool. And I can see it
Yeah.
in a family. We can have a project called Eat Healthy. We can have a project called Be Kind. We can have a project called Be a Good Husband or whatever. We can have a project called,
The
I don't
impossible
know.
project. Be a good husband.
We can have a project called Feed the Poor, whatever. And all those can build up whatever it is that you want the family to complete that. Yeah, you can have 12 things, and maybe every month you can complete one project. And then after that, you can celebrate. And then you can complete another, and then you can celebrate. This is huge. It can be used for parents, can be used for CEOs, it can be used literally to track projects. It's project management tool. Wow. Who knew? Who knew?
I hope that it's just starting. I mean, the response was very nice. I was mainly focused on friends and people I know. I did not do so much online promotion yet, because for me it was important to bring it out there, to show it to, as they say, friends and family. And that's always a good way to start any new project. I'm making it on my own. It's my own production, so I'm building it myself. And for me, it was really important to see how it's accepted and how people touch it, how people use it. And now slowly I will be more communicating it to the internet and start selling it even more, and most probably more internationally. So this is just at the beginning. I think it's a lovely idea. I think it's a useful idea. And if the mindset is correct, that is what is so important, because as you said, tracking tool, management tool, yes, I agree with you on so many levels, but I see it more as a sacred place. It's like a small mini temple in the house where we celebrate us, or I celebrate me, my little space where I can celebrate myself and can be proud of myself, where I have this place that motivates me, but also where I have this exchange, see what you have already done, or look how far you would like to come. So this is a very important place for putting space in the mind in a physical real world space and have this interaction going on. I still see it a lot more spiritual than as a management tool. That's the angle how I see it, but everybody can interpret it in its very own way. But that's for me how it was intended, and how I choose the sacred form, and how I choose these materials, and the way I did things based on those thoughts.
I really like it. As we come to the end of this, I'm now looking at Philip's work and his intention to help people connect or be connected. And this is the one tool that when you stand and say, my life is a failure, or I haven't achieved much, or this was a bad year, that if you have this, you can go, no, but I did that. And then I did that. And that stone says I did that. No, but I was there for my child when they had sports day. And I was there for my husband. And no, I actually ate healthy. I'm healthier. And you know what? I actually exercised every day. And I did that thing. So I think that it's the evidence of progress in the end. Your mind can play games, and who knows, there's always another level, another milestone to hit. But this can be a very good reminder that, you know what? You're the only competition you'll ever have. And this is evidence that you're making progress. Because whatever the success you're after is not like gonna happen because you're leaping and jumping. It's the little bits of every day that add up. It's the compounding effect of doing the work that doesn't seem to add. It's the little things that add up eventually to cause the effect that most people are always waiting for. So I think that in the push button world, this is a very sacred tool to tell people otherwise. Maybe you didn't make $1 million this year, but do you see how much progress you made? Maybe you were divorced, but do you see how healthier you are? Maybe something bad happened, but can you see the other progress? So I really like this element of Philip's work, and I can't wait to see it in the world. Who knows where it will end? Parents, CEOs, couples. I am very hopeful for this project. Philip, what did we miss that is so key that we need to talk about it before we wind up?
I think you covered it so beautifully with your talent for asking questions. It was for me a very, very lovely and a good time. So I can see you soon. We're gonna become my colleague in making one-on-ones as friend. So I would be very proud having you as a colleague. Thank you so far so much for asking all of these questions, giving me the space to share and starting my journey into the internet world. So it is an interesting thing to talk to a camera and not to real people, but I'm trying to learn, I'm learning, and it's a new world and we have to embrace it.
You know, Phil, the one thing that I had to understand when I started to use the internet, that was 6 years ago, when I started to use the internet, I heard a coach who said, Prima, when you write a post, I read it as me. So stop talking to your audience and start speaking to me. You're not speaking to the camera, you're not speaking to the world, you're not speaking to the audience, you're speaking to one person who is consuming that piece as them. And he put it into very good context for me, because I used to say, hi, everybody. And now I don't. I just say, hey, you, if you're there, I see you. Because the person who's listening to the podcast is one person, they're watching the video as one person, they're reading the content as one person. So I think it's never been more intimate than now. It's just that we have to really adjust and understand that our energy can be there and we can sit with people and we can impact them. I want to come back to you though and get your parting words. Like, if we forgot everything you told us, if we forgot anything you shared today, what is the thing that you want us to stay with years and years when we're watching this?
Same like in the beginning, try to incorporate just much laughing, connection, invite your friends over, cook real food, have a laugh, drink a glass of wine, be together, be connected. This is all that you need to remember, and I think you'll be just fine.
My friend, this has been Philipp Kobald. Is that how we pronounce the name? Philipp Kobald. This has been Philipp Kobald. Philipp, what is the best place for people to tap into your work? The one-on-one service friend, like the colleague service, the product thanks, and everything you have to offer.
Absolutely.
Philipp,
I'm sure you will put the link down there, but it's holisticcircle.org. And this is where everything comes together, the podcast, the product, the one-on-ones. Everything that we talked about today is spinning around the holisticcircle.org website. So that's pretty easy.
The thing we didn't talk about is Philip has another podcast where he interviews people about how to market your spiritual work. I've been on that podcast and I think it's a very crucial one, especially for you who is a best kept secret, who listens to this podcast. He does have a podcast, and on that podcast, he interviews people like me on how we market, how we create ethical influence in the marketplace, how we get our ideas out there when, first and foremost, we're just not marketers. We're just like problem solvers who find it hard to start talking about ourselves. And so I think that podcast would be a good piece for you if you have troubles marketing your work and you have issues speaking about your work and you're not sure what to do to get people to know about your work. And I'll be putting all of that in the comment section. So just scroll through wherever you're watching this from and you should see that. But to end, I think that this has been a great conversation. I hope that you've picked Philip's thoughts. What I've learned personally is that sometimes you really just need somebody to listen, somebody not to judge, somebody to be a friend, somebody to be there. That in this world where everybody is just curious about talking about themselves, having someone to give you that space to just talk your ideas out without trying to influence your direction can be a real gift. And Philip offers that gift for people who are looking for just that. What I've learned is that we make a lot of progress, but we need to allow ourselves to track it. Otherwise, it can look like we're not progressing. There's a lot of pressures in the world to do more and be more and achieve more and be a high performer. But really, if you slow down, you're making progress every day. It's just that progress doesn't scream or fight for oxygen with you. It's there, but it compounds over time. And if we have the visibility or chance to track it, then we can be solid in our confidence that what we do is working. And we don't have to hop from place to place to place looking for miracles when we can see visible progress. It's been such a learning time for me. And I hope that it's been the same for you. Till next time, my friends. Thank you for today. And Phil, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and for allowing yourself to be on the internet, not offline. It's been such a pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.